Now to Hong Kong, where the territory's High Court has sentenced 45 pro-democracy leaders to jail terms of between 4 and 10 years in a case condemned by Western countries and human rights groups. They were charged with subversion over their roles in unofficial local elections held in 2020 under Beijing's national security law, which was introduced following mass pro-democracy protests. Now, the law crushed the democracy movement and reduced the city's autonomy.
Hundreds waited for hours to get inside the courthouse for the end of this landmark trial. The largest single prosecution to date under Hong Kong's national security law, imposed by China 4 years ago. Many here are family and friends of those who were sentenced. 45 former politicians and activists handed prison terms of up to 10 years after being charged with conspiracy to commit subversion.
The whole trial is unfair because what they have done is only, to do what the basic law had already laid down, that it is their right to put pressure to the administration to let them respond to the majority of Hong Kong people. So I don't know what is their criminal offence.
Elsa Wu's son, Hendrik Louis, was among those sentenced. Taken by police outside court, she demanded to know why her son has to go to jail, insisting that he's a good person. At the heart of this mass trial, an unofficial primary election held in 2020. The defendants accused of attempting to paralyse Hong Kong's government and overthrow the city's leader by organising or taking part in it, including Joshua Wong, a prominent figure in Hong Kong's once thriving pro-democracy movement, and legal scholar Benny Tai, described by judges as the mastermind, who was handed the longest sentence of 10 years.
We believe these sentences reflect the severity of the crime and show that crimes endangering national security must be heavily punished. The sentences have sent a clear message to the public that we have zero tolerance for any acts endangering national security, including subverting state power. We will study the individual sentences before deciding whether to appeal.
The sentencing has drawn criticism from Western governments and human rights organisations, who cite the case as evidence of the erosion of political freedoms in Hong Kong. But Beijing and Hong Kong's government insist the national security law is necessary for the city's stability.
And we can talk to one of the pro-democracy activists who took part in the unofficial vote that led to so many people being jailed. Sonny Chung got out of Hong Kong before the worst of the crackdowns and joins us now from Washington, D.C. Welcome to DW. I guess you knew many of the people sentenced today.
Yes, today is a very devastating day for me because I have so many friends from the 47 and now being put behind the bar. And then they are innocent. I mean, they are just trying to exercise their rights, including me. This is a very peaceful exercise in democratic expression by just one person, one vote, and organizing a pro-democracy primary. But Beijing government could not tolerate that.
So what did you think when you heard about the sentences?
Again, I mean, I personally, I'm very devastated because many friends of mine are now in prison for years. And I know Professor Benny Tai, he is a very reputable legal professor in Hong Kong. He has been advocating for peaceful civil disobedience, but now he is going to face 10 years, a decade-long sentence. So it's a very tough day for me. And then I haven't seen them for years. And I hope that, the international community can do something to help them.
And do these 45 jail sentences, does that effectively end Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement?
I think definitely it is a very fatal blow to the Hong Kong civil society, because when you look into the 47 people, their background and their professions, you can see that they represent the whole political spectrum within the pro-democracy camp. And there are young activists, student leaders, legal professors, and other professionals, and they are all very reputable. So by arresting all of them, Beijing successfully wiped out the whole pro-democracy camp. So that's why I'm calling for a very concrete and assertive action by the international community before it's too late.
And does the fight continue from abroad? People like yourself, perhaps? Are there people outside the territory who are still continuing this fight?
Absolutely. We never give up. I mean, especially people who fled the city, who are in exile, or who immigrate to overseas in Europe, US, UK. And then we are still fighting very hard to advocate for our cause, to promote the story of Hong Kong and keep awareness of Hong Kong and the Chinese government. So that's why, we have been doing a lot of things in order to ensure that their memory, the story of the 47 can be alive.
Give us an idea, if you would, of the state of human rights in Hong Kong. For instance, what sorts of things can you do freely there in Washington that you couldn't back in the territory?
That's a good question. Give you a very quick example. Many people have heard of the 1989 Tiananmen massacre that happened in Beijing. In DC, we can still hold candlelight vigil. And Hong Kong, we were used to organize candlelight vigil to commemorate the victims of those murdered students. But now, in Hong Kong, if you still want to organize that, you will be charged for illegal assembly or even subversion of the regime.
Looking at it from the outside, it seems like a hopeless fight, if you don't mind me saying, because you look at the way that China acts against its citizens who are actually behaving themselves. One wonders, how can you win a fight against a fight for democracy against a government as repressive as China's?
I think this is how people say, when before the Soviet Union collapsed, right? We don't lose hope. We don't lose hope. We remain hopeful. And the reason for that is because we have strong confidence and faith in humanity and in this, the progress we have made, for the civilization, right, of humankind. We believe that justice, democracy, and human rights will always prevail. There are ups and downs. We see the uprising of the authoritarianism. We see the backsliding of democracy. Yet, we never lose hope. We hope to work together with the help of the international community. And one day, we can reclaim Hong Kong and try to stand in the free land of Hong Kong.
Thank you so much for joining us, self-exiled Hong Kong activist Sonny Chung.